Switching genres is about breaking boundaries, exploring new sounds, and challenging the status quo. There are many artists that fell flat taking risks. For some, changing their sound brought them to a new audience and was the reason for their huge success. In this video, we look at 8 artists that switched genres in one. Katy Perry. Katy began her musical journey under the name Katy Hudson, exploring contemporary Christian music. A self-titled debut album, released in 2001, showcased her raw talent, but it never went nowhere. Fast forward to the mid-2000s, and Katy Hudson rebranded herself as Katy Perry. With a newfound persona and an electrifying pop sound, she burst onto the mainstream scene with her next album, One of the Boys. The album spawned unforgettable hits like I Kissed a Girl and Hot and Cold. The teenage dream era elevated her into pop royalty. The album shattered records, spawning multiple chart toppers and becoming a cultural phenomenon. She is now considered as a pop icon. Her transition from Christian music to pop was not just successful, it was groundbreaking. Machine Gun Kelly. Kicking off his career as a rapper, Machine Gun Kelly made a name for himself with rapid-fire delivery and gritty lyrics, hence the name. He broke through with the hype banger Wild Boy, but by the late 2010s, his career in hip-hop was fizzling out. Things were not looking promising after getting into a beef with the biggest rapper of all time, Eminem. Even though he showed promise in the back and forth, the stance will never let it go. So he thought it was the right time for a switch-up. He decided to take a bold step into a completely different genre, pop-punk, with his 5th studio album, Tickets to My Downfall. The album debuted on #1 on the Billboard 200, moving 126,000 album equivalent units in its first week. It became the biggest album of his career. Even though he faced backlash from rock purists, it ended up becoming his most successful album, so the gamble worked out for him. Maroon 5. Maroon 5 burst onto the scene in the early 2000s with their debut album Songs About Jane, featuring hits like Harder to Breathe and This Love. Their signature alternative rock sound established them as a prominent force in the music industry. As the years went by, Maroon 5 showed their willingness to experiment with their sound. With albums like Hands All Over and Overexposed, they incorporated elements of pop and R&B, expanding their sonic palette and capturing a broader audience. Moves Like Jagger was a game changer. The track not only topped the charts, but also showcased Maroon 5's ability to seamlessly blend pop, rock, and dance influences. This success marked a new era for the band. Even though they started out making rock music, these days they are purely a pop band. You can say the same about Coldplay and maybe Panic at the Disco. Gwen Stefani. Gwen Stefani first gained prominence as the lead vocalist of No Doubt, a band that embraced the energetic vibes of a genre known as ska punk. Songs like Don't Speak and Just a Girl showcased her powerful voice and set a stage for what would become an incredible musical journey. As we enter the 2000s, Gwen ventured into the pop territory with her solo career. The album Love Angel Music Baby marked a significant shift, featuring hits like Hollaback Girl and Cool. This era is when she was her most popular, with Hollaback Girl ruling the charts, spending 4 weeks on #1 and becoming the 2nd biggest song of 2005 in the US. Since then, she had a reunion with No Doubt, became a coach on The Voice, and even tried out country with her husband Blake Shelton. Childish Gambino. Donald Glover initially gained recognition as a writer, actor, and comedian, but he decided to dip his toes into the world of hip-hop as Childish Gambino. His early mixtapes showcased clever wordplay and a unique perspective, making him stand out in the rap game. His impressive concept album Because the Internet was very successful, showing his ability to make a complete work of art. The album that marked a seismic shift in Gambino's sound was his next album, Awaken My Love. Stepping away from rap, he delved into the realms of R&B and funk, treating us to soulful melodies and a sound that was a departure from his earlier work. It was a critical darling and a commercial success, now certified platinum in the US. It was also nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys. The album gave us one of his biggest hits, Redbone. It is his most streamed song, with 1.5 billion plays on Spotify. You can't box Donald Glover into anything. He is truly a force to be reckoned with across multiple artistic realms. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift captivated country fans before seamlessly transitioning to pop by the mid-2010s. Even though she dabbled in pop music on Red, she fully became pop royalty with her fifth album, 1989. It is still her most successful album, dominating the charts with hits like Shake It Off and Blank Space. The album has sold more than 34 million records worldwide to date, and has been certified 9 times platinum by the RIAA. Taylor took another turn when she dropped her 2 folk albums, Folklore and Evermore, in 2020. This change was highly praised by critics and fans, and gave her some of her most critically acclaimed albums. Trying out different genres expanded her fan base, and put her on the road to becoming one of the biggest artists of all time. Her ability to adapt has undoubtedly solidified her status as a musical powerhouse. David Bowie. David Bowie began his musical journey in the 60s with a blend of folk and rock. However, it wasn't until the early 70s that he introduced the world to Ziggy Stardust, a character that marked a radical shift in his sound when glam rock took center stage and Bowie's alter ego became a cultural phenomenon. His chameleon-like ability to adapt was evident in the mid-70s with Young Americans, where he embraced soul and funk influences. The late 70s saw Bowie delving into experimental territories with the Berlin trilogy, Low, Heroes, and The Lodger. In the 90s, he explored electronic industrial experimental sounds and continued his refusal to be confined by one genre. Bowie's versatility and his uncanny ability for absorbing and redefining musical genres made him a true innovator. Blackeyed Peas. The Blackeyed Peas began their journey in the late 90s as an underground hip-hop group, bringing a fresh and energetic sound to the scene. The addition of Fergie in 2003 brought a new dimension to the group, fusing her pop and R&B sensibilities. Then they released Elephant, infusing pop elements into their music with tracks like Where's the Love and Shut Up. The late 2000s marked a significant genre switch as they embraced a dance pop sound with their hugely successful album The End, The Energy Never Dies. Tracks like Boom Boom Pow and I Got a Feeling became anthems, dominating the charts in clubs all around the world. This was their peak as they ruled 2009, spending half the year at #1 on the Hot 100. In recent years, the Blackeyed Peas without Fergie continued to explore new sounds, incorporating EDM and Latin elements, with songs like Ritmo and Don't You Worry. There are a lot of artists I missed. Tell me some in the comments below.